Hello there, and welcome. I am so glad you found your way here tonight. Wherever you are in the world, whatever kind of day you are leaving behind, you are safe here. Take a moment to dim the lights, pull the blanket up to your chin, and let your shoulders drop. Let us ease into tonight's journey together. It is comforting to know that we are all watching the same moon tonight, listening to the same quiet wind, no matter how far apart we might be. If you like, drop a comment letting me know where in the dark you are listening from tonight. It is always lovely to know we are sharing this quiet space. Tonight, we are going to look back through the mists of time, back to an era of ancient mountains, whispering forests, and the quiet wisdom of a legendary strategist who looked at the world not with aggression, but with a deep, silent understanding of nature. We often think of ancient wisdom as a set of rigid rules, especially when it comes to the art of strategy. We picture heavy armor, clashing shields, and unyielding walls. But what if the greatest secret to navigating life's storms is not fighting them, but learning how to flow around them, like water? There is a quiet passage written thousands of years ago that reminds us of this. It says that an army should be like water. Water has no constant shape. It avoids the high ground and rushes down to the low empty spaces. It adapts to the ground it flows over, and because it can change its form in response to whatever it meets, it is called divine. Think about the modern struggle. We live in a world that demands we be like stone. We are told to have a 5-year plan, a weekly schedule, a rigid daily checklist. We build our lives out of concrete expectations, and when something unexpected blocks our path, we feel shattered. We run headfirst into obstacles, treating every setback as a battle we must fight with sheer force of will. But a stone, for all its hardness, can chip, crack, and eventually crumble under pressure. Water, on the other hand, is the softest thing in the world, yet it can wear away the hardest mountain over time. Consider the different lives water lives. Picture a quiet mountain stream, clear and cold, bubbling over smooth pebbles. It does not argue with the stones in its path. When it encounters a heavy rock, it does not stop and demand that the rock move. It simply parts. It flows to the left, it flows to the right, and then it joins back together on the other side, continuing its gentle journey down the mountain. It does not view the rock as an enemy, nor does it view the detour as a failure. The rock is simply the geography of the moment. Now think of water as a deep, dark pool in the heart of a forest. It is perfectly still, reflecting the stars above. It is patient. It holds the coldness of the night and the warmth of the day without changing its essence. And then think of water as a gentle rain, falling softly on dry leaves, or a massive, silent glacier, moving so slowly that its motion is invisible to the eye, yet powerful enough to reshape valleys. When you face uncertainty, when a plan falls apart, or when life takes an unexpected turn you do not have to break, you can choose to be water. You can treat the obstacle not as a personal failure, but simply as a change in the terrain. You can allow yourself to bend, to shift, and to find the quiet, empty spaces where there is no resistance. Let your mind drift into this quiet imagery. Imagine that the heavy, rigid boundaries of your day are beginning to soften. Picture yourself as a single, clear drop of rain falling gently from a dark night sky. You feel weightless. You are falling through the cool, clean air down toward the soft, silent earth below. You land softly upon a bed of deep green moss. feeling the dampness, the coolness, the absolute peace of the forest floor. Slowly, you begin to slide down the smooth side of a leaf, merging with other droplets. You are no longer alone. You are part of a tiny, clear trickle of water, finding its way through the roots of ancient trees. The soil smells of damp pine needles and old earth. You flow over smooth, dark stones. There is no effort in your movement. You are simply following the natural pull of the earth, sliding through the gaps, slipping through the quiet hollows. The trickle becomes a small, winding stream. You can hear the gentle, repetitive murmur of the water as it brushes against the banks. The sound is a low, soothing whisper in the dark. The stream is cool, carrying away the heat and tension of the day. You glide past ferns, past silent wildflowers that sleep in the night air. Every obstacle you meet is just an invitation to turn, to glide, to remain fluid. You do not have to push. You do not have to strive. You are simply carried by the gravity of peace, flowing deeper and deeper into the quiet night until you find yourself merging into a wide, perfectly still lake. Here, the water is dark and deep. There is no current here, only a vast, silent expanse that cradles you, holding you safe under the starlight. As we drift on this slow, dark lake, we realize that the water did not take a straight path to get here. It wound through valleys, curved around hills, and took many long, quiet detours. This brings to mind another quiet truth from the ancient scrolls. It says that the wise strategist makes the winding, indirect path the most direct one, and turns every difficulty into an advantage. We live in a culture that is obsessed with the straight line. We want the fastest route, the immediate answer, the quickest path to success. We feel a deep sense of anxiety if we are forced to take a detour, if we are delayed, or if we feel like we are falling behind some imaginary schedule. We treat every delay as a waste of time, a punishment, or a sign that we have lost our way. But if you look closely at the natural world, you will see that nature almost never moves in a straight line. Rivers do not run straight. They curve and bend, creating rich, fertile valleys along their banks. Tree branches do not grow straight up. They reach out in beautiful winding patterns to catch the light. The path of a bird in the sky is a series of gentle, soaring loops. Straight lines are a human invention, and they often bring tension. The winding path is the path of ease. When a river bends, it is not because it is lost. It bends because it is saving its energy. It respects the rise and fall of the land. If it tried to cut a straight line through every hill, it would exhaust its strength and dry up before ever reaching the sea. By accepting the detour, the river preserves its force, growing wider and deeper with every curve. Perhaps the detour you are facing in your life right now is not a waste of time. Perhaps it is a protection. It is a slow, quiet space where you are meant to gather your strength, to learn the terrain, and to grow in ways that a straight, fast path would never allow. When you accept the winding road, the anxiety of rushing disappears. You realize that you cannot be late to your own life. Every step, even the one that seems to go backward or sideways, is part of the journey home. Picture yourself now, standing at the edge of that quiet lake, stepping onto a narrow, winding forest path. The night is deep, and the air is cool and sweet with the scent of pine and damp earth. Under your feet, the ground is soft, covered in a thick carpet of dry leaves and pine needles. With every step you take, there is a soft, rhythmic rustling sound, a gentle whisper that anchors you to the present moment. The path before you is not straight. It curves gently around the trunks of massive ancient trees whose roots rise like sleeping giants from the earth. You cannot see what lies around the next bend, and for the first time you realize that you do not need to. The darkness ahead is not a threat. It is a soft, protective blanket that keeps the rest of the world at bay. You walk slowly with no rush, no pressure, and no expectations. There is no one to catch up to, and no one is chasing you. The forest is asleep. You pass bushes of wild berries, their leaves heavy with evening dew. Occasionally, a gentle breeze drifts through the high canopy above, causing the pine needles to brush against one another with a sound like distant waves. With every turn of the path, you feel a little lighter. You are letting go of the need to know the end of the story. You are accepting the curve, the slow pace, the beauty of the detour. The air grows cooler as you climb a gentle slope, and the scent of wild jasmine floats on the breeze, soft and fleeting. You take a slow, deep breath, letting the clean night air fill your chest, and as you exhale, you let go of the day's speed. You are exactly where you need to be, walking a path that was made just for you. Step by quiet step. At the end of this winding path, hidden deep within the quietest part of the forest, stands a tall, silent stone sanctuary. It has stood here for centuries, untouched by the noise and chaos of the outside world. This place reminds us of the quiet wisdom of the commander. The ancient scrolls say that the leader of one's own life must be calm and obscure, upright and disciplined, to be quiet and deep, keeping your own counsel, and to maintain an inner order that no external storm can shake. In the modern world, our minds are constantly invaded. We are exposed to an endless stream of information, opinions, demands, and notifications. Our brains are forced to process more in a single day than our ancestors did in a lifetime. By the time we lay our heads on the pillow, our minds are still spinning like a wheel that cannot stop. We carry the noise of the marketplace, the tension of the office, and the worries of the future right into our beds. But you are the general of your own mind, and a great general knows when to declare a ceasefire. A great general knows when to retreat into the quiet, deep fortress of the self, closing the heavy gates against the world. Tonight, you do not need to be available to anyone else. You do not need to solve any problems, answer any questions, or defend any positions. Your inner sanctuary is a place of absolute privacy, deep and quiet, where no one can reach you without your permission. This inner order, this discipline of rest, is not a luxury. It is how you preserve your spirit. When you protect your sleep, you are protecting your strength. You are building a high, thick wall around your peace, keeping the chaos outside where it belongs. Imagine stepping through the arched stone doorway of this ancient sanctuary. The walls are made of thick, cold gray stone, shutting out the wind and the distant murmurs of the world. Inside, however, it is incredibly warm and safe. A large stone fireplace sits at the far end of the room, filled with thick oak logs that burn with a steady golden glow. The wood crackles softly, a warm rhythmic sound that fills the quiet space. You walk across the room, the soles of your feet feeling the cool, solid strength of the stone floor. You approach the large, arched window outside. A gentle night rain has begun to fall, tapping softly against the glass. You can see the dark shapes of the trees swaying in the wind, but here inside the air is perfectly still, warm and dry. Slowly, You reach out and pull the heavy, dark velvet curtains closed. One by one, you block out the cold night, the rain, and the vastness of the darkness outside. You turn back to the room, lit only by the soft, dancing light of the fire. There's a large, comfortable bed waiting for you, piled high with thick, soft blankets that smell of lavender and clean linen. You climb into the bed, feeling the immediate, heavy warmth wrap around your body. The blankets rest against your chest with a comforting weight, like a gentle hand holding you safe. You watch the shadows of the firelight dance slowly across the stone ceiling, rising and falling in a quiet, ancient rhythm. Outside, the rain continues to whisper against the stone walls, a low, steady hum that gently lulls you deeper into the mattress. You are safe in your fortress. The gates are locked, the curtains are drawn, and the fire is burning low. There is nothing left to do. There is nothing left to decide. You can let your eyes grow heavy listening to the soft crackle of the wood and the distant, soothing rain as you drift slowly, peacefully into the deep and quiet dark. Consider how much energy we waste in our daily lives by fighting battles that do not need to be fought. We often carry a heavy, silent burden of perfectionism, a desire to control every outcome, and an endless habit of replaying the day's events in our minds long after the sun has set. We lie in the dark, rehearsing old arguments, analyzing slight mistakes, and trying to force solutions to problems that cannot be solved at midnight. In the ancient scrolls, there is a profound strategy that teaches us to avoid what is full and strong, and instead strike what is empty and weak. It reminds us that water shapes its course according to the ground over which it flows, just as a wise person shapes their actions according to the situation they meet. When applied to the quiet architecture of our minds, this strategy is a lesson in energy conservation. It is an invitation to stop pushing against the solid stone walls of our lives. Many of the worries that keep us awake are what the ancient strategists would call the strength or fullness of the enemy. They are the unpredictable events, the opinions of others, the mistakes of the past, and the uncertainties of the future. These things are solid, unyielding, and heavy. When we lie in bed trying to battle them with our thoughts, we are running headfirst into armor. We exhaust our mental batteries, leaving ourselves bruised, frustrated, and awake. To practice this gentle strategy of energy conservation is to find the weak points, the empty spaces, and the paths of least resistance. It means recognizing that some things cannot be resolved by force of thought. When a difficult memory or a worry about tomorrow arises, you do not have to fight it. You do not have to build a case against it. Instead, you can simply choose to slip past it, like water flowing around a boulder. You can redirect your attention to the small, quiet spaces of comfort that are available to you right now. The softness of your pillow, the steady warmth of your breath, and the absolute safety of this present moment. These are your empty spaces, your paths of least resistance, where no battle is required. Picture yourself now lying on a wide, empty beach at the very edge of a vast, calm ocean. The night is deep and warm, and the sky above is a rich, velvety black, sprinkled with a million distant, glittering stars. The only sound in the entire world is the gentle, rhythmic washing of the tide against the shore. Listen to the water as it slides slowly up the cool, dark sand, and then slips silently back into the sea. With every breath you take, imagine your lungs expanding and contracting in perfect synchronization with this oceanic tide. As you breathe in, the wave rises, washing gently over your tired mind. As you breathe out, the wave recedes, carrying with it the sharp edges of your thoughts, the tension in your shoulders, and the heavy residue of the day. On this beach there are large, ancient stones that have been battered by the ocean for thousands of years. But look at them now. They are not jagged or sharp. They are perfectly smooth, round, and soft to the touch, worn down over generations by the gentle, persistent touch of the water. The water did not break the stones with force. It simply loved them into softness through endless quiet repetition. Let your worries be like those stones. You do not need to shatter them tonight. Let the slow, rhythmic waves of your breathing wash over them, softening their edges, wearing away their power until they are nothing but fine, harmless sand slipping through your fingers. Imagine now that your body has become as light as a single white feather drifting on the surface of this warm sea. You are floating effortlessly, cradled by the gentle lift and fall of the water. You do not need to swim. You do not need to steer. You do not need to keep yourself afloat. The ocean is vast, deep, and perfectly capable of holding you. Wherever the water carries you, you go without resistance, without fear, dissolved into a state of absolute weightless ease. From the edge of this vast, comforting ocean, our awareness gently drifts inward, leaving the shore behind and entering a deeper, quieter forest where the tall trees keep the secrets of the night. As we walk deeper into this inner landscape, we are invited to consider another ancient truth. It is said that if you know both yourself and the things you face, you will never be in danger. But if you do not know yourself, even if you understand the world around you, every victory will be met with a defeat. In our modern lives, we often suffer from a quiet, persistent fear. We feel like actors playing a role we are not quite qualified for, constantly worried that others will discover our limitations. We compare our chaotic, quiet inner lives with the polished, successful outer lives of those around us. We try to be superheroes, forcing ourselves to carry every burden, to have every answer, and to never show fatigue. This is a profound form of self-ignorance. We do not know our own limits, and because we refuse to see them, we constantly wage a war against our own biology. Radical self-acceptance is the ultimate form of self-knowledge. To know yourself is to understand that you are human, that you have a finite amount of energy, and that it is entirely natural to feel tired, uncertain, and small. When you stop fighting your own limitations, you stop losing the battle against yourself. You realize that your fatigue is not a failure of character. It is simply your body's honest request for rest. Your sensitivity is not a weakness. It is your mind's way of processing a complex world. By accepting yourself exactly as you are tonight, with all your unfinished tasks, your unexpressed feelings, and your imperfect moments, you sign a treaty of peace with your own soul. You allow yourself to be tired. You allow yourself to not know all the answers. Picture yourself now stepping into a quiet clearing in the middle of the deep forest. In the center of this clearing lies a perfectly still, circular lake. The water is so dark and calm that it looks like a sheet of black glass, reflecting the stars and the crescent moon with absolute clarity. The air is cool, carrying the fresh, crisp scent of pine needles and damp earth. Far off in the branches of an old oak tree, a single nightingale sings a low, sweet melody, its voice rising and falling like a gentle lullaby. You walk to the very edge of the water and look down. The lake does not judge what it reflects. It does not try to alter the stars, nor does it criticize the shape of the clouds. It simply holds them, allowing them to exist. As you look into the water, you see the reflection of your own face. For a long moment, you just look without any judgment, without any expectations, and without any disappointment. You look at the weariness in your eyes, and instead of wishing it away, you feel a deep, warm wave of compassion for yourself. You have carried so much today. You have walked through so many busy spaces, spoken so many words, and solved so many tiny crises. You look at your reflection and gently nod, offering yourself a silent, unconditional thank you. You are enough, just as you are in this very moment. You reach down and gently touch the surface of the water with the tip of your finger. A single tiny ripple expands outward in perfect circles, gently blurring the reflection of your face, the stars, and the moon. The image dissolves into soft, undulating patterns of light and shadow. Your thoughts, your identity, and your worries dissolve with it. There is no longer a need to hold a specific shape. You are just a quiet presence in the dark, watching the ripples fade back into complete, glassy stillness as your mind prepares to let go of the waking world. As the lake settles back into its deep, unbroken silence, we realize that the greatest victories are not those won through fierce struggle. The ancient scrolls teach us that to win 100 victories in 100 battles is not the highest skill. To subdue the conflict without ever fighting is the true peak of wisdom. We live in a world that conditions us to be constantly on guard. We build thick defensive walls around our hearts, prepare arguments in our heads, and view our daily interactions as potential battlefields. We fight for status, we fight for recognition, and we fight to prove that we are right. This defensive posture is incredibly exhausting. It keeps our nervous systems in a state of constant alert, with our muscles tight, our breathing shallow, and our minds ready to strike back at any moment. But tonight the battle is over. The field is empty. There is no one to defend yourself against, and there is no one you need to defeat. The ultimate strategy of peace is the voluntary laying down of your weapons. It is the realization that you do not need to win every argument. You do not need to correct every misunderstanding, and you do not need to prove your worth to the darkness. By choosing not to participate in the conflict, you instantly strip it of its power over you. You choose peace over being right. You choose rest over victory. Imagine you are a weary traveler who has spent many long months traveling through difficult, stormy lands. You have arrived at last at a peaceful, sun-warmed valley under a twilight sky. You walk to the center of a wide, soft meadow where the grass is cool and fragrant with the scent of chamomile and lavender. One by one, you begin to remove your heavy equipment. You reach up and unbuckle your heavy iron helmet, feeling the cool night breeze immediately rush through your hair, soothing your forehead. You lay the helmet down in the grass. Next, you unfasten the heavy, cold metal plate protecting your chest. As it slips away, your lungs feel an incredible sense of freedom. You can take a deep, full, unhindered breath, feeling your chest rise and fall without any restriction. You unstrap the heavy leather boots from your feet, letting your toes sink into the soft, cool grass. Finally, you take your heavy sword and your sturdy shield, and you place them far out of reach, deep in the shadows of the valley. You are no longer a soldier on guard. You are just a human being, bare, soft, and entirely safe. You slip into a loose, incredibly soft robe made of light, unspun cotton. Your body feels light, almost weightless, freed from the heavy metal that held you bound to the earth. You lie down in the deep, warm grass, letting your limbs stretch out as far as they want to go. High above you, in the dark blue sky, a pair of wooden wind chimes hangs from the branch of an old willow tree, swaying gently in the night wind. They sing with a low, deep, woody resonance, accompanied by the flat, soothing tones of a distant temple bowl. The sound vibrates through the ground, humming softly beneath your body, matching the slow, steady beat of your heart. The earth beneath you feels incredibly solid and warm. It has held the heat of the sun all day, and now it is slowly releasing that warmth into your back, your legs, and your shoulders. You sink a little deeper into the grass, letting the earth hold your weight entirely. The wind chimes sing their slow, unpredictable song, a quiet melody with no hurry, no purpose, and no end. You close your eyes, listening to the deep, resonant hum of the temple bowl as it vibrates through the darkness, pulling you down, down, into the warm, comforting embrace of a completely peaceful sleep. In this state of total surrender, we must learn to redefine the silent spaces of our lives, those moments of stillness that we so often misinterpret as emptiness or waste. There is an ancient strategic teaching that tells us to begin as quietly as a shy maiden, hiding our presence, waiting in absolute stillness, so that when the moment of action finally arrives, we can move with the sudden, effortless grace of a swift hare. This is not just a lesson in timing, it is a profound philosophy of rest and preparation. It reminds us that before we can act with true power, we must first master the art of being entirely still. In our modern lives, we are deeply afraid of empty spaces. We feel an underlying anxiety when nothing is happening, when a project is paused, when we are waiting for an answer, or when we are simply lying in bed with nothing but our own thoughts. We treat these intervals as voids that must be filled as lost time, or as a sign of stagnation. We feel that if we are not constantly pushing forward, we are somehow falling behind. But this constant, frantic striving exhausts the spirit. It leaves us with no reservoir of energy, no inner quietude to draw from when life demands our greatest strength. Nature, in its infinite wisdom, never rushes. It understands the sacred necessity of the pause. Consider the life of a forest during the deep winter. To an outside observer, the forest looks dead, cold, and entirely unproductive. The leaves have fallen, the branches are bare, and the ground is frozen hard. There is no visible growth, no color, and no activity. But beneath the surface, a quiet miracle is taking place. Deep in the dark, warm soil, the roots of the trees are resting, conserving their nutrients, and slowly absorbing the moisture of the winter rains. The seeds are sleeping, waiting for the perfect temperature, the perfect light, and the perfect season to break through the earth. If the forest tried to bloom in the middle of winter, the cold would destroy its fragile new growth. The rest is not a waste of time. It is the very foundation of the spring. Tonight, you can allow your sleep to be your personal winter. You do not need to grow tonight. You do not need to produce, to plan, or to achieve anything. This is your period of quiet storage, your time to retreat deep beneath the surface of your life and gather your strength in the dark. By lying here in absolute stillness, you are preparing yourself for the spring that will surely come tomorrow. Imagine now that you are a tiny, perfect seed, resting deep beneath the surface of the fertile, warm earth. The soil around you is dark, rich, and incredibly soft, wrapping you in a tight, protective cocoon. Above you, a gentle, silent winter snow is falling, blanketing the forest floor in a thick layer of white. The snow mutes all the sounds of the world, creating an unbroken, heavy silence that stretches for miles in every direction. You can feel the cool, gentle dampness of the earth pressing against you, but inside your small shell, you are perfectly warm, safe, and dry. You have no responsibilities here. You do not need to reach for the sunlight yet. You do not need to push through the soil. You do not need to be strong or beautiful or useful. You are allowed to just exist in the quiet dark. With every slow, deep breath you take, imagine yourself sinking just a little deeper into the soft, welcoming earth. Let the darkness be a comfort, a gentle weight that holds you in place and protects you from the storms of the outer world. The wind may howl through the bare branches of the trees far above, but down here in your silent sanctuary, there is only peace. You are breathing in the ancient, slow rhythm of the earth, waiting in perfect contentment, knowing that when the time is right, you will rise effortlessly. But tonight is only for resting. Yet, even when we understand the beauty of quiet preparation, the active human mind often struggles to remain still. In the quiet hours of the night, our thoughts can feel like an unruly council, with each worry and task demanding our immediate attention. There is a famous concept in ancient military philosophy known as the calculations of the temple. It teaches us that the general who makes many calculations in the temple before the battle begins will always find victory, while the one who makes few calculations will face defeat. In our waking lives, planning is indeed a vital tool. We must think ahead, prepare our schedules, and organize our tasks. But there is a proper time and a proper place for this preparation. The calculations of the temple are meant for the bright, active hours of the day. When we carry those calculations into the darkness of the night, they cease to be wisdom and instead become a form of mental exhaustion. We lie awake at 3 a.m, trying to solve tomorrow's problems, organizing next week's meetings, and worrying about things that we cannot possibly influence from our beds. This is a false productivity that only robs us of our vital rest. The secret to a peaceful night is to officially close the temple council before your head touches the pillow. You must learn to separate the time of action from the time of rest. Tell yourself that the work of the day is done, and the work of tomorrow has not yet begun. You have already done your calculations. You have made your plans, and now it is time for the general to sleep. Imagine a large, beautiful room in your mind, an ancient temple of quiet thought. The room is built of polished gray stone with tall pillars that reach up to a vaulted ceiling. On a massive oak desk in the center of the room, there is a journal made of thick, textured parchment. Next to it sits a simple, elegant glass inkwell and a fountain pen with a fine silver nib. Picture yourself walking to this desk. You sit down in the quiet, and you begin to write down every single thought, every task, and every worry that has been spinning in your mind tonight. Listen to the soft, rhythmic scratch of the pen on the textured paper, a comforting, steady sound in the silence of the temple. As you write each item down, feel it leaving your mind, flowing down your arm and settling permanently onto the page. You write down the emails you need to send, the conversations you need to have, and the decisions you need to make. You write down your hopes, your fears, and your unfinished plans. You do not need to solve them now. You only need to record them, to give them a safe place to rest outside of your own head. Once the page is full, you gently close the journal. The heavy, leather-bound cover shuts with a soft, satisfying thud. You lift the book and walk over to a corner of the room where a large, ancient chest made of dark, fragrant camphor wood stands. The wood smells of clean cedar, dried spices, and ancient, quiet libraries. You place your journal inside the chest, close the heavy wooden lid, and slide the brass latch into place. Your desk is now completely empty. The stone room is quiet, lit only by the soft, fading twilight filtering through the high windows. There are no more calculations to be made tonight. Your plans are safe, locked away in the camphor chest, waiting for you to return to them tomorrow. With a deep sigh of relief, you turn your back on the desk and step out of the room, leaving the planning behind, ready to sink into the uncomplicated warmth of your bed. Once the mind is cleared of its calculations, we can finally return to the pure, quiet rhythms of the natural world, aligning ourselves with the deep, slow pulse of the earth. In the ancient teachings of movement and balance, it is said that we must learn to be as swift as the wind, as fierce as fire, but also as gentle as the forest and as immovable as the mountain. In our modern society, we have perfected the art of speed and fire. We are constantly rushing, constantly burning with activity, ambition, and stress. We live our lives in a state of high-temperature intensity, moving from one task to the next with a restless, windswept energy. But we have forgotten how to be gentle like the forest. We have forgotten how to slow down, how to settle, and how to allow ourselves to just exist without purpose, without movement, and without noise. A forest does not rush its growth. An ancient oak tree does not compete with the pine tree next to it. It does not worry about whether its leaves are opening fast enough, or whether it is achieving its potential. The forest exists in a state of collective, quiet grace. It simply stands, rooted deeply in the earth, breathing in the wind, absorbing the rain, and sleeping under the stars. There is a profound power in this stillness. The trees are strong not because they are active, but because they are rooted. They can withstand the fiercest storms because they know how to bend, how to remain calm, and how to stay anchored to the ground beneath them. Tonight, you are invited to let go of the speed of the wind and the fire of the day. You are invited to slow your rhythm down to match the quiet, ancient pace of the forest. Allow yourself to be still, to be heavy, and to be anchored in the safety of this moment. Imagine now that you are walking deep into the heart of a silent, primeval forest. The trees here are massive, their ancient trunks covered in soft, velvety green moss. The canopy above is so thick that it forms a vast green ceiling, protecting the forest floor from the harsh light of the outer world. The air is cool, heavy, and rich with the scent of damp earth, wild pine, and quiet rain. As you stand among these ancient giants, imagine your body beginning to merge with the forest. Picture your feet turning into strong, deep roots, reaching down through the carpet of dry leaves, down into the warm, dark soil. You can feel your roots spreading out, wrapping around the solid stones of the earth, and anchoring you so deeply that nothing in the world could ever shake you. Your spine becomes a tall, sturdy tree trunk, strong, flexible, and completely at ease. Your arms soften, extending outward like long, gentle branches reaching up toward the dark night sky. You can feel the cool night air brushing against your leaves, a soft, whispering rustle that vibrates through your entire being. Listen to the quiet sound of the wind as it drifts through your branches, a low, rhythmic murmur that matches the slow rise and fall of your chest. With every breath you take, you are breathing in the cool, clean oxygen of the forest, and with every breath you release, you are letting go of the tension, the worry, and the heat of the day. Slowly, the night dew begins to form on your leaves, gathering in small, cool droplets that slide gently down your bark, returning to the earth below. Your breathing slows down, becoming as deep and as quiet as the breathing of the trees around you. You are heavy, you are rooted, and you are completely still. The forest around you is sleeping, and you are sleeping with it, an ancient, immovable presence in the dark, cradled by the gentle whispering wind. From the deep shelter of the woods, we return once more to the quiet expanse of your bed, where the darkness of the room surrounds you like a soft velvet curtain. Yet, even in this peaceful stillness, there are nights when sleep feels like a distant shore, entirely out of reach. We lie there, watching the hours slip away, and with every passing minute our frustration grows. We tell ourselves we must sleep, we need to sleep, we have to be rested for tomorrow. In doing so, we turn sleep into a battle, and we turn our own beds into a battlefield. There is an ancient paradoxical strategy that offers us a completely different way through this struggle. It suggests that sometimes the only way to survive is to place ourselves on desperate ground, to willingly step into the very situation we fear, and by doing so find our ultimate salvation. In modern psychology, this is known as the art of paradoxical intention. When you are desperately trying to fall asleep, your brain perceives your effort as a struggle. It releases adrenaline, raises your heart rate, and keeps you alert because it thinks you are fighting an enemy. The enemy, in this case, is the fear of being awake. The more you fight the wakefulness, the more wakeful you become. To apply the strategy of total surrender is to stop the fight entirely, and is to lie in the dark and say to yourself, with absolute honesty, it is perfectly fine if I do not sleep tonight. I am simply going to lie here and enjoy the feeling of doing nothing. I am going to enjoy the soft warmth of my blankets, the quiet of the night, and the comfort of having no demands on my time for the next few hours. When you stop treating your wakefulness as a problem that must be solved, the tension in your mind instantly begins to evaporate. You are no longer in danger. You are no longer on a battlefield. You have surrendered to the darkness, and in that complete surrender, your nervous system finally receives the signal that it is safe to let go. In the very place where you stopped fighting for sleep, sleep quietly finds you. Imagine now that you are floating in the vast, quiet expanse of the deep cosmos, far beyond the reach of the busy world. Or perhaps you are drifting in the warm, dark depths of a silent tropical ocean. There is no gravity here. There is no top, no bottom, and no boundaries. The space around you is a rich, deep, velvety dark, accompanied by a low, comforting hum, like the deep brown noise of the universe or the distant sound of submarine currents. You do not need to hold yourself up. There is nothing to fall from and nothing to run into. You are completely weightless. Let your limbs drift outwards, soft and loose. You can feel the absolute heavy security of having nothing to cling to. There are no handholds, no ledges, and no responsibilities. You do not need to keep track of time because time is dissolved into this vast, dark ocean. With every slow, deep breath you take, imagine yourself sinking just a little deeper into this infinite, warm dark. You are falling, but the fall is slow, gentle, and infinitely safe. It is a descent into a soft cushion of absolute nothingness. You are letting go of the need to control your body, the need to control your mind, and the need to control the night. You are simply drifting, a speck of dust in the quiet universe, trusting the darkness to hold you, allowing yourself to sink deeper and deeper into the weightless peace of the void. As we float in this vast, weightless darkness, completely surrendered to the night, we begin to feel the remaining knots of our emotional attachments loosen. Many of our deepest anxieties are born from our tendency to hold onto things with a white-knuckled grip. We cling to our desire for approval, our fear of failure, and our memories of the day's small conflicts. In the ancient texts of strategy, there is a quiet, sharp piece of advice that tells us if we want to win without conflict, we must first seize that which our opponent cherishes most. In the landscape of our own minds, we are often our own opponents, and the things we cherish too tightly are our mental attachments. We hold on to the need to be perfect. We hold on to the desire to fix every mistake we made today. We hold on to the resentment of a harsh word spoken by a colleague, or the anxiety of an upcoming decision. These thoughts are our treasured burdens, and as long as we carry them, our hands are too full to receive the gift of rest. To practice this inner decluttering is to ask yourself, with gentle curiosity, what am I holding on to so tightly tonight? What is the one thought, the one worry, or the one expectation that I am refusing to let go of? Once you identify it, you do not need to analyze it or judge yourself for having it. You simply need to perform a quiet act of release. You need to open your mental hands and let it slide away. When you strip yourself of the need to protect these anxieties, you reclaim your own power. You realize that you are not your worries. You are the quiet space in which those worries exist. And when you let them go, you are left with nothing but the vast, clean emptiness of a peaceful mind. Imagine now that you are standing in a quiet autumn meadow at dusk. In the center of the meadow stands a massive, ancient maple tree. Its leaves have turned into brilliant shades of amber, gold, and deep, dark crimson. The evening air is cool and crisp, carrying the earthy, sweet scent of dry leaves and late-season wood. You walk to the base of the tree and find that several dry, fallen leaves are resting in your open palms. As you look closely at these leaves, you see that each one has a word written across its surface in faint silver ink. One leaf bears the weight of a mistake you made today. Another carries the anxiety of a conversation you must have tomorrow. A third holds your fear of not being good enough. You can feel the light, papery dryness of the leaves resting against your skin, a physical representation of the mental clutter you have carried all day. Slowly, you bring your hands close to your face. You take a deep, gentle breath, feeling the cool autumn air fill your lungs. And then, with a soft, slow exhale, you blow across your open palms. Watch as the dry leaves lift from your hands. They are caught instantly by a gentle evening breeze, rising slowly into the dark blue sky, spinning and dancing in the air. They float higher and higher, growing smaller and smaller, until they disappear completely into the shadows of the forest canopy. Your hands are now completely empty. Look at your palms, soft, relaxed, and open. There is nothing left to hold. There is nothing left to carry. You turn your empty hands over, letting your fingers curl gently, feeling the absolute relief of having let go of everything. You let your arms drop slowly to your sides, your body feeling lighter and more spacious with every passing moment, ready to slide into the effortless ease of the night. Once our hands are open and our grip on the world has completely released, we can finally learn the ultimate secret of the gentlest worry. The ancient strategic scrolls tell us that those who were truly skilled in the art of strategy did not seek out difficult, glorious battles. Instead, they won victories that were easy to win. They created conditions where success was so natural, so inevitable, and so gentle that the battle was won before it ever began. In our modern culture, we have been taught to worship struggle. We believe that if something is not difficult, painful, and exhausting, it has no value. We apply this harsh philosophy to our careers, our relationships, and even to our rest. We feel that we must work ourselves to the point of collapse to deserve a good night's sleep. And when we struggle to rest, we treat sleep as another mountain we must climb through sheer effort. But this is a profound misunderstanding of how nature operates. Sleep is not a prize to be won through labor. It is a natural state of being, a gentle river that is always waiting to carry you away, if only you stop trying to swim against the current. To live an easy, winning life is to choose the path of least resistance. It is to set up your environment, your thoughts, and your expectations so that peace is the most natural outcome. Tonight, you do not need to climb any mountains. You do not need to prove your strength. You only need to align yourself with the natural inclination of your body, which wants nothing more than to rest, to heal, and to sleep. By letting go of the struggle, you have already won. Picture now a soft, warm light, like the gentle silver glow of a full moon, beginning to filter through the window of your room. The light is cool, soothing, and incredibly peaceful. It moves slowly across the floor, climbing up the side of your bed until it gently rests upon your face. Feel the cool, silver touch of the moonlight as it brushes across your forehead. Imagine it smoothing away the small lines of tension that gathered there during the day, melting them like ice under a gentle sun. The space between your eyebrows grows wide, soft, and completely relaxed. The light drifts down to your eyelids. Your eyes feel heavy, wonderfully heavy, like two smooth, warm stones resting in the deep, quiet earth. You have no need to look at anything anymore tonight. The world has faded into a soft, dark blur. The silver light moves down to your jaw, letting it drop slightly, releasing the clenching and the holding of the daytime hours. Your throat softens. Your neck relaxes. Your shoulders, which have carried the weight of your responsibilities for so many hours, feel as though they are melting directly into the mattress beneath you. They are sinking down, becoming one with the soft, supportive surface of your bed. Feel the light travel slowly down your arms, relaxing your elbows, your wrists, and your fingers. Your hands, those hands that did so much work today, are now completely still, resting open and heavy on the sheets. The warmth of the bed cradles your chest and your stomach. With every slow, deep breath you take, your body feels more and more like a soft feather drifting down through a quiet sky, or a heavy piece of cotton sinking slowly into a warm, supportive cloud. The silver moonlight washes down your legs, relaxing your thighs, your knees, and your feet, carrying away the last remnants of the day's travel. You are entirely relaxed from the crown of your head to the tips of your toes. There are no more battles to win. There are no more plans to make. The wind is whispering outside. The rain is tapping softly. And the ancient temple of your mind is perfectly still, dark and warm. The gentle hum of the night is calling you. The slow, rhythmic tide of your breath is carrying you away. You do not need to stay awake to watch the transition. You can simply allow yourself to slide, to drift, to dissolve into the deep, sweet, and boundless dark. Let yourself go. Let yourself sink. Good night, my friend. Sleep well. Let the darkness hold you, let the peace wrap around you. Deep, quiet, endless sleep